Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. Today I'm back with another Moon Knight review. I'm reviewing episode. Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. I'm back with another Moon Knight review, episode 6. Now, this is the last episode of the season, so this is not just going to be an episode 6 review, but also a season 1 review. And I'm just going to be talking towards the end about what I thought about the season as a whole. So, yeah, let's get into it now. This episode was absolutely amazing. I loved it. It gave me a lot of stuff. It gave me, action. It gave me more of the story. We got to reveal more things about what's going to be happening in the future of the show. We got, great fights. We got to see more stuff that I wanted to see. There's obviously a lot of stuff that they haven't shown, but that's good because you don't want a show to give you everything right away in the first season, because if they do, or in a couple episodes, then it kind of, because it's like, what's the point for the next seasons? But looking at this, I feel like they're holding back a lot of stuff, which is great. It does suck because, as viewers, we want to see the stuff happening right away. We want to, see the stuff. People are very impatient. I'm very impatient. I want to see it happen right away, but I understand that they need to hold things back, which I do love. So this episode was crazy. It started off with, obviously, Mark back with it actually started off with Layla and seeing what he did. So we're seeing what's happening after Mark was dead and he was dealing with the whole memory stuff with Steven, and she's just standing there watching as what's his name, Arthur, is taking his body. He basically says sorry to him, and then they get the statue. They take it. They leave. They go to like the border area where there's like Egyptian guards there, and they're like, hey, you can't come here, you can't pass here. And he picks up his staff, drops it, wipes them all out except for one guy who is apparently a good soul. He lives. Layla's there with them. She's hiding undercover in their camp to get inside, and she's about to kill him. She pulls out a knife. She's gonna stab him, which is a terrible decision to make, because I get it. I get why she's doing it. One, he killed her husband, so that makes sense. And two, he's about to unleash a goddess that's going to kill millions of people, which is understandable. But then again, he has magical powers, and his powers were already dangerous before, but now it's been amplified even more. And all she has is a knife, so she was going to be in a bad situation until the goddess Thoet, I think her name is. She was possessing the body of the dead guys and like warning her and telling her about Mark and what he's doing and stuff. So it basically prevented her from making a stupid decision. So she holds back. Then they go to the place. The gods are trying to, gods now realize, oh yeah, he's definitely doing what he said he's gonna do, which is like, okay, you guys are useless. You first were like, no, he's not doing anything. You weren't listening, and now the situation is bad. I expect them to do something, but they didn't do anything. The moment he came in there, he dropped his staff, basically obliterated them. They were all destroyed. Osiris lived for a bit. He was still surviving, but then he died in the ending. But yeah, he wiped him out. She went to find Khonshu's statue to break him out. We see we see Arthur smashing the statue, releasing Ahmed. And Ahmed, I like the design of her. She looked very cool and interesting. I think one of the coolest things about her was the fact that her hair was basically, she had like long braids all the way back, and it was supposed to resemble the alligator's tail. So her body, she does not have an alligator tail on it, but for her hair, she does. So yeah, she comes out and she starts asking like, who released me? Who do I have to thank? And he's like, I released you, but you never have to thank me and stuff. And he was being very devoted. And I do like that he is so far gone to the point where he's not like, sometimes you see cult leaders and stuff, you see them, they pretend to care a lot about something, but for him, he genuinely believes in this. He genuinely is giving his heart and soul into into what he's doing. So yeah, he starts talking to her, and then he tells her about what happened, and then she judges his soul and finds out that he's imbalanced himself, which is kind of ironic that he's judging everybody, saying you're imbalanced, you deserve to die and stuff. He was also imbalanced, and crazy enough, he said, I deserve to die too. I deserve to get punished. So at least he practices what he preaches, but still, it's kind of ridiculous to me that he was acting like he was so high and mighty, but he was just bad. And it was because of what he did in the past with Khonshu and the fact that he enjoyed what he was doing. So he was still, punished regardless of that. And she's like, oh no, it has nothing to do with your past. It has to do with your future. He's like, I don't want more suffering. So kill me. You can take one of my disciples, because my disciples have perfect balance. I do not have perfect balance, which is crazy that he's the leader and doesn't. But he's like, I don't have it, so take one of my people, which it is admirable. You can hate him, but you could at least respect that what he believes in. He believes in it so deeply that he's willing to give it, sacrifice his life, and not even care. He was doing this stuff not for ulterior motives or anything like that. He was doing it because he truly believed in it, and he truly believed in the cause, which just showcases why so many people were following his lead so much. Because it's hard not to follow somebody who is truly believing what they say, even if it's crazy. So he says that, but she's like, I had someone that was perfectly balanced, and then I got sealed up. And she basically says she doesn't care if she wants somebody who's not perfectly balanced, which is kind of contradictory to the belief that you have to be perfectly balanced to live. Wherever you're not, you die, because her power does that. But he was not perfectly balanced, and she was going to let him live, and she wanted him to be her avatar and stuff like that. Which, like, to me was like, to me it was kind of ridiculous. I'm like, that's kind of like BS if you think about it. Like, you can't be saying that these people all deserve to die, but then your champion, your avatar is imbalanced himself. He should have been punished similarly. Obviously, she just wants to use him and stuff. It's kind of like with Khonshu. He needs Mark because Mark is himself is broken. He don't want a whole person who's a whole. He wanted somebody that was broken. So yeah, I guess it makes sense in that regard, but still, it's just ridiculous. And also, one of the things we do get revealed early on was Thawet said she wanted Layla to be her avatar, which is cool because I was like, now not only is Mark going to be an avatar and like obviously / Steven, but also his wife is going to be an avatar, which is going to be really cool. And it does make the situation for Mark and us as the viewers a lot better, and I'll get into explaining what I mean by that. But yeah, Hugh's doing that. She releases Khonshu out and they get into a battle, but before I get into more of that stuff, we do go to the afterlife. Mark is there in the field of Reeves. He's talking to Thawet. She's like, oh, look, you found peace. You finally found peace in your life and stuff like that. And he does seem like he's happy, but he deep down, he's like, man, even though I'm happy, I don't want this to happen to Steven. But Steven sacrificed himself. Steven does care about him, and he does care about Steven. So in regards to that, instead of just going out there and just being fine or whatever, he goes back to the Daoud or something is called, where Steven was frozen. So he went out there to help him out because he's like, I can't let this happen. He's a part of me. I care about him, and on top of that, he helped me out. He risked his life, so I owe him the gratitude. So he goes to see him, and I like this because, like I said, the way they've been showing these characters, they've been fighting against each other. Even though they're the same person, they're fighting against each other because they have different ideologies and ways of thinking. But even with that, you could tell that they truly care about each other. Because the moment when Mark went into that other world, the hospital area, and he saw him, he ran up and he hugged he hugged Steven. And even though they yelled, you would assume that he would be pissed at him and not care. But he did hug him, so you could see that they were building it up. And at that point, they were showing, casing their bond for each other to his highest. It's kind of like a self-love thing because Mark has been hating himself for what happened with his brother and how his mom treated him, and he used Steven to take the brunt of that and help him deal with these situations. But now he's not just doing that, he's also accepting him and he wants him. So I do love that aspect. I think it's very interesting to see that. I guess it's a good way to showcase, because his character is about like having mental health problems, so showing that is like showing self-love in that mental health aspect. So that's a very cool concept to do, and I really enjoy it. But yeah, he goes there, and it just shows how much they care for each other, because he was willing to sacrifice himself jumping off there, and then Mark was willing to get rid of Paradise and just going after the world and save them to save his other self because he needed to. He talks to him. He's like, man, thank you for everything. I miss you were the greatest thing. You saved me. You protected me. And then he's like, yes, you're my greatest superpower. Puts the heart on there. They both freeze, and then the gates of Osiris open up. Light shines on the heart. It starts glowing. It disappears, and then they both that frozen type of effect goes away, and they both awaken. So basically, it was like, I guess his situation is he could find balance by himself, or he can work together with his other self, which he would rather have that situation and find peace throughout that. So he did. Now this shows that both Mark and Steven, even though they're still different, they're perfectly balanced, and they know they need each other and they care about each other. And I do like how he said, you're my superpower, basically meaning that even before the whole Khonshu stuff and the Egyptian god stuff, I did have somebody there to protect me, because the whole point of him is, you're my avatar and I'll protect you. Whereas he's basically stating that, well, Steven was always there to protect me when I was in danger. So, and it does show when he protects him. So it's like I said, Steven protects Mark through his mental problems or any mental trauma, and Mark protects Steven through any physical harm or any physical danger. So they both complement each other very well. So they had that. They come back to the world, they get resurrected, but they're bleeding out. They're literally bleeding out. Like I said they have bullets in their chest. If Layla wasn't able to get Khonshu out, it would be pointless for him to revive, because if he did, he would have been bleeding out and just died right afterwards. Luckily for him, she did bring him out, and he did come to him. But before that, they did have him and Ahmed had a big fight, and I gotta admit that fight was amazing. You just see him like doing this super fast stuff, moving like a ghost. She's obviously stronger than him. She's just tossing around, hitting him, but he is like has far better like how do I say, maneuverability. He has better agility and stuff. He's doing that better, but he's still getting tagged. He's in a dangerous position. He also tried to get Layla to be his his avatar. She's like, hell no, I saw what you did to him. I'm not going to be taking that, which is good. Then he goes into Mark, Steven, and now we have a new thing, because now Steven and Mark, before they would switch back and forth, but now they switch back and forth in perfect unison. They have perfect control, and there's no imbalance when it comes to it, so they can switch whenever. Because he goes from Mark automatically to Steven, and he starts telling me like, no, we need to make a deal that, to release me after this is done. And he's like, really, right now? He's like, yep. Which I respected. Showcases that he's being more tough and straightforward. And also it's like, well, it's a good time to force Khonshu's hand at that time. So he agrees. They go in there. They go to fight. He goes to fight what's his name, Arthur, with his new power, where Khonshu is now, well, actually he is first sent. He jumps in the air, and then he starts, I'm pretty sure, flying. He might be gliding, but from the way I saw it, he was flying. And at this moment he's doing, Arthur's climbing the pyramid, putting his staff up, and now the souls of the city of Cairo are going to be getting judged. What he does when he does that is the marking on everybody that's under that works for him gets set off, and then they start judging everybody in the city. They start judging them, killing them off, killing the ones off that are bad, and leaving the ones that are good alive. So he kills them all off, and as the souls are getting taken, Ahmed is eating them and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So she's becoming giant, which I thought was really cool. I like that aspect. I'm like, oh damn, she's getting huge. So she got big. And then Mark is flying there. He starts fighting Arthur, but Arthur is like beating him up. Arthur obviously has the more advantage over him. I think it's due to the fact that Arthur has, he's getting. I think it's because Ahmed gave him more power. Since they work completely together, there's no fighting back and forth. Whereas when it comes to Khonshu, I think the way it works with these godly powers is, when you're an avatar, it depends on how much you work with the god. If you're an argument or a disagreement, you can use their power, but just not to the fullest extent. But if you're 100% matched with them, like Arthur is with Ahmed, then you can have full control. So I don't think it's because, Arthur's just stronger than Mark. I just think that his connection to his goddess is far stronger than Mark's connection to Khonshu, which is understandable because Khonshu does have some, he's a pretty sketchy dude with his, he has pretty sketchy ideals. So yeah, they get into a fight. He's obviously losing. And at this point, Layla is, the things are crashing. And I think it was before this, but it was crashing. She said to Thawed, she's like, yes, I'll be your avatar. She comes in, she starts talking a little, and then she transforms, she gets her own costume. Finally, you get to see a new costume. I've been talking about, I want to see some, other avatars. I want to see the other gods. We saw at least 3 different gods now, and two avatars, their physical stuff. Arthur's also an avatar, but the thing for me is, I was hoping for him to have a costume change, which he didn't. Layla had a costume change. She pulls her arms out like this, and golden wings come out, and 2 sabers, which looks so badass. I was like, yes. And this is good. Like I said, the reason that it's good for us and Mark is because, let's say if we're watching the show, I don't want to watch her keep on trying to have Mark coming in and trying to save her. So her having her own power, she can save herself, so they can both fight on the same team. And it's cool to just see 2 avatars having battle out. So that's cooler than just having, having to see her in danger, have Mark worry about and trying to save her. It's better to have them both have powers and be able to handle their problems together. And it's good for us as viewers, because then we don't have to be oh, he has to go save her again. and is good for Arthur because now he has somebody that helps him out, and he also doesn't have to worry about his wife, getting hurt. The only reason he didn't want Khonshu to her to be Khonshu's avatar is because Khonshu's a dick. But her, I think the witch is nice enough where he doesn't have to worry about her, using her. So that was great. They both get into a fight. They're both going back and forth. I gotta say, the choreography in this fighting was amazing. I was losing my mind. I was screaming. I was saying woo and shit. He was doing flying knees. Also, even before that, like you see Arthur and him going at each other down the pyramid. They're tilting it. You see the full moon. It was so bad as they go in, and he comes in, he knees him. And one of the coolest aspect I think about this fight, not besides the choreography and the hand to hand they're doing, was the fact that both Mark and Steven were switching back and forth. So like instantly it was just either Mark's suit and then it goes to Steven, and they were both fighting back. And Steven even learned how to fight now. So now we got to see, how they fight differently. We got to see Steven fight with his, batons and stuff, where Moon Knight got to fight with his crescents and shit. And it was just cool. I loved it. I thought it was amazing that we got to see both of them switch back and forth and see the perfect control that they have in unison. Steven is no longer just a nuisance or, just there to be there. He is now a part of the team, and they're helping. So they're working off each other like a tag team. So they're basically jumping him, even though they're doing decently well. He does have he is significantly more powerful and still beating them both. They get to a point where there's people in danger. Layla goes to save them. She saves this one woman. She's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she's like, "I am." I like that. I know some people are gonna get mad. They're like, "Oh, this is some woke stuff. They're bringing diversity. They're doing this." Personally, people who always complain about it are usually the most ignorant. And for me, I liked it because I'm like, if you're going to use Egyptian gods or, Egyptian mythology and, their culture to use this, which is fine. If you're going to use that, there should be absolutely no problem with having an Egyptian superhero, which is interesting because I don't remember ever seeing an Egyptian superhero. If there might be out there, I don't know, but she's one of the few that I've seen, so I do like that she was that. I can get why some people might think it's a little cringe, but I don't see a problem with it. I think it's pretty cool to have like an Egyptian superhero, especially since they're gonna have Egyptian gods and Egyptian theme in general. They might as well have one. So yeah, they fight and stuff. And at this point, she's kind of backed up into a corner. She's getting shot at. She's like blocking those attacks. Oh, what's his name? Arthur basically sets off an energy attack, and she has her shield up, and it basically absorbs it. So I'm pretty sure her wings not only absorb bullets, but also absorbs energy. So he's putting the staff onto Mark's chest. He's about to take his soul out. He's about to destroy him and kill him. And then you see his eyes flicker, and you wake up, and he has everybody's taken down and killed. He has the axe to his head, and Layla's like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm just like, "You tell me. You're the one who saw it. Please tell us." Sadly, they never didn't tell us what happened. She was just like, "What the hell?" So yeah, he beat him. Obviously, this is his third personality. I just want to see how it happened and what he's doing. What is he threat? They're obviously holding back because they want to show more in season 2, which is going to be amazing. I think people just have to be patient for what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up for these bigger threats later on. So yeah, he does that. That was crazy. He basically beats him, takes him to there. They set the spell. It basically takes away, what's her name, Ahmed. The Ahmed versus Khonshu fight was also amazing, but they take her away. They put her soul into Arthur's body. He's beaten up, and Khonshu's like, kill him, and then I was like, no, you don't have to do this. You're not controlling anymore. Which, to be honest, I was like, just kill him. I was like, Khonshu might be, a little aggressive, but he does got a point that if you don't stop them, they're just going to keep on coming back. So he doesn't do it. He stops. Apparently the deal with him is over, so the suit gets taken off. He loses he's no longer his avatar. I guess he's happy now. And, he's no longer that. And as soon as that happened, it switches over to him in the office with Arthur again. And I'm just like, okay, now I'm confused. We were doing fine, and now I'm confused. They're back in, the psych hospital, and he's talking to him, and it's really cool, this one scene, because you see, you see Mark shifting back from Steven to Mark. He starts off as Steven, and then he turns into Mark instantly, and it just throws him off, and he goes to Steven Mark. Like, after, like, what one or every other word, it's Steven's voice or Mark's voice, and they're just talking. It's like, I love it because they're showing the perfect unison between these two, but if I'm being honest, it's hella confusing still. It's like, because before at least you just see one or the other, but now it's like they just go intertwine rapidly back and forth. And like I said, it's cool to show that, and it's a great way to showcase their unison. And now they merged well together. But it's also like gets really confusing when you see him going from a British to an English accent, which is hilarious because if you think about it, it's basically Isaac. I forgot his name is Isaac Hayes. I forgot what his name is, but the actor for Mark, you can see that he's just shifting back and forth. It's pretty cool to see that as an acting wise. But yeah, we see that, and then he tells him like, "How do you know this reality isn't real, or whatever?" And it switches over, and it's no longer Mark in the hospital. It is him, because what happens actually is that I'll tell you that later. Sorry. Yeah. So he says that, and then he wakes up, and he's in his bed back in London, or London, as he would say. But he's back in London. He's in his bed, and I'm confused even more. I'm like, what is happening? He's talking to him, and then he gets out of bed. He falls down again because he's tied on the ankle thing. But yeah, he's back there, and the episode ends right there. I'm just like, are you kidding me? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is so insane, but still, like, why would you end right there? But then I was like, it's a Marvel show. They're definitely going to have end credit scenes. So I skipped to the ending. And yes, there is an end credit scene. Just skip when the song comes in, like the ending, skip that part. But once when it gets to like the black title stuff, then it's fully done. So you don't have to watch the rest after that. But yeah, he basically, what's the thing called? He wakes up we see later on it transitions to Arthur in the psych ward now. He's the one, the mental patient, and somebody takes him out. Somebody's carrying him out and cartering him. And I'm like, who is it? Who can be cartering him? Now I had the assumption that it might be Mark's other side, and I was correct. So he was coming out there. He pulls him out there. He puts him into a limo, throws his his wheelchair, puts him in there, and he turns around and he sees Khonshu in a suit. Khonshu sitting there in a suit talking to him. He's like, Mark, he's like, oh, you can't hurt me anymore and stuff like that. And he's like, Mark thought I wanted his wife. I never wanted his wife. I didn't care about her. I have another person already that I can use. And I was like, oh, no, I know. Because I know a little bit about the comic books. So for other people who don't know, you're going to be, surprised or confused. But for me, I knew. What he does is he rolls down the window. He's like, meet my new friend, Jake, I think Lockley or Longley. He is another alternative, version of Mark's psyche. There is Steven. There is in the comic books, Mark is the assassin. Steve is the rich millionaire dude or billionaire, and Jake is a taxi cab driver from New York. And obviously in the show it's different because Steven is not rich. He's actually just a common man. So we go over to it. He rolls down the window. He pulls out a gun, and I think he says something in Italian or Spanish. I don't know what. He says something in Italian or Spanish. He has black on, and he shoots him, killing Arthur there. So Arthur's dead, and Ahmed should be dead there too. I don't know how he ended up in the psych hospital. I guess they messed with reality somehow. But yeah, he's dead now, and he was killed by, Mark's other side, which is Jake Lockley or Longley, whatever how they stated. So he is the other side to Mark, technically. And then he drives off. You see on the car it says Spectre, and it's a nice white car. I think in this one he's gonna be the rich one. He's gonna be like some rich murderer dude or assassin dude, and that's what they're gonna do with him. But that's like interesting. I do like that. So yeah, now Arthur's dead. Ahmed, I think, also dies with it. Also, we get revealed who his other side is, what his name is, how he kind of lives. He's kind of more like rich and fancy. Also, we find out what nefarious acts that Khonshu is doing, because Khonshu said he thinks he's free now. What I think really happened was Khonshu, he made a deal with Mark. He never made a deal with Steven. But he also made a deal with Jake, and his they think differently. And his deal with Jake was like, I will allow you to I'll help you take control more over this body and do whatever you want and stuff and have powers. But you have to agree to work with me. So if Mark breaks our deal or says this deal is over, I will agree to it. But I'm gonna make a deal with you that you're still gonna be my avatar. So even if my deal falls through with Mark, in the end of the day, I'm still gonna be working with you. So I think that was the thing. That was he was basically manipulating and lying to Steven, Mark and Steven. He didn't tell them that he made a deal with his other side. So now he's still technically bound to be his avatar. He just personally doesn't know it. So yeah, he leaves and then he's gone, and that was cool. So I'm really hopeful for. Sorry for the weird jump cut. My camera battery basically died. I had to recharge it. It's still not full, but I just felt like I had to recharge it, so I had to come back. So from the last part where I was talking about, yeah, we see Jake Lockley leave in his car, so you see he's the more rich type. I think they're trying to switch stuff up in this show and blend in some of the elements from the comic book with different like characters and portrayed in a different way, which to be honest for me, I do like that. I think that is an interesting way to do it, because if you do it that way, now you make it unique and its own. And I know a lot of people love the original comics and stuff like that, but let's be honest, a lot of times when these comics create these characters, especially older characters, the way they written them were kind of, let's be honest, how do I say, kind of lazier or lamer way of doing it. Whereas where you see it more modernized, it can be more creative, more in depth and thought provoking. Not saying that the original comics are terrible, but I think the direction they're going in the show has been very well when it comes to his character. So yeah, we see that. We're gonna see that's basically the end of this. So next season, definitely they're setting up for Mark getting his powers back, getting his suit back, becoming Moon Knight again, having to deal with his other alternative side, Jake Lockley, having to deal with Khonshu and his decision making. Also having to deal with his wife now also being an avatar. And he was taking out threats, but obviously this is not going to be the end of it. There's still some other magical beings out there. And I do think we're going to see more of the other gods and other avatars and stuff. I think it's going to be very interesting. Though, I think all the people that were avatars for the previous gods are dead now, so they're going to probably need newer avatars, which is crazy, because I want to see how they were using their powers or whatever. But yeah, that was basically it for this episode. I think this season as a whole, now I'm going to be talking about the season. I think the season as a whole was very entertaining. It was very enjoyable. Obviously, it was short. It was 6 episodes, so there's more you can scrutinize compared to other shows that are longer. But personally, for me, I enjoyed every episode. I might have enjoyed some episodes more than the others, but I really, really enjoyed every episode, just to varying degrees and for different reasons. Personally, I love this ending. I think it was a very good way to end it. Some people might say, well, they could have ended it better. They could have done more. Possibly, maybe. But for me personally, I'm satisfied. It gave me enough to make me enjoy the episode, entertained, and hopeful for a next season. The best thing a show can do is grab your attention, hook you in, make you want to watch every episode that comes out, and when it ends the season, it makes you want to see the next season and what's going to happen next. That's how you show a really good show. That's how have a fun, entertaining show. Even if it's not the most well written, as long as it keeps the audience engaged and wanting more, that is like the best way to do it. So I think the season as a whole was very good. I do like the whole Mark and Steven's relationship and arguments between each other. I think that was very entertaining. I like the whole Egyptian god aspect. I think there's gonna be far more for us. Personally, right now they're not connecting it or tying it to anything else MCU related, which personally I'm fine with that. I don't mind it. One show that did this was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The first few seasons, they tried directly connect to the MCU, but the MCU didn't really take them as serious, like saying they're a part of our story. So after a while, they're just after the whole Infinity War stuff, they're like, it's good, we're going our own path. And I think that was the best option. So to be honest with you, I hope that the Moon Knight series sticks directly to just, its own stuff instead of having to worry about the Avengers and, the Incredible Hulk and, Iron Man and Spider-Man. I think they should just, keep it self-contained. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that it's necessary to have it connected to the other Marvel products and stuff. It's not necessary, It doesn't make the show better. Like, oh my god, they mentioned this in the MCU. It's gonna be amazing. No, I think it's better on its own. So yeah, I think the season as a whole was great. But the season for this show was more important than just how good the season is gonna be. Well, what I'm trying to say is, the importance of this show and this season wasn't just for the show itself, but for the future of the MCU itself in their shows. Because a lot of people were concerned once, they bought the rights back from Netflix for all the other characters like Daredevil and Punisher and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones and Power Man. They bought those out, and some of those shows were doing really good, especially Daredevil and Punisher. And they ended that, and they took it. They themselves took it. And one of the things people were worried about is that the way Netflix did it was they didn't hold back. They let them curse. They let violence. They let gore. There was a lot of gore. If you look at Daredevil, I mean, you had Wilson Fisk bashing a guy's head in with a car door and like completely destroying it, smashing his dad's head in with the hammer, and then chopping his body up into pieces. So there was some very gruesome stuff in that. And in the Punisher, don't even get me started on Punisher. There was just chock full of violence, which I absolutely loved. And that made a lot of people nervous. They're like, oh, they're going to make it too soft, too gentle because, it's the MCU. And after seeing this season, I think it's in pretty good hands, especially when it comes to the writing aspect, visual aspects. I think it's going to be very well handled. But I do see where people might be having problems with the gore. I think that's the only problem I would have, is that because even though Moon Knight had some great choreography, especially this last episode, and they have good fighting and sometimes show some more violent stuff, I think it still hasn't been on the level of the Netflix Marvel shows, and that's going to suck, especially for a character like the Punisher that seriously needs that gore and that violence and that level of intensity and just craziness. It needs that. So if they don't have that, it can be a hindrance to a lot of people, myself included. I will still accept it, but I just feel like it'll be far better for everybody if they did that. And though Moon Knight did get rid of a lot of my fears for the future of these shows coming to, the MCU and under Disney Plus, it did, got alleviated a lot of that, but there's still the problem about the gore, because like I said, it wasn't as intense in this show. It might have been more than other, like the MCU shows, like, Loki or Falcon and, Winter Soldier. But it's still not on the level of Netflix, so I can see where people are going to be nervous on that front. But to be honest, I still have high hopes, I have good expectations, and I have a lot of optimism for the direction they're going in. And I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next in the Moon Knight season. I heard that his brother Randall Specter becomes actually an enemy to him in the comics, so that's gonna be interesting to see which direction they go with that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed the season. Still, I have a little bit of concerns for the future of the Netflix shows that are coming over, but not as much as I did before. So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed these Moon Knight reviews. I can't wait for the next season to make more reviews. I absolutely love the show. It got me hooked. I love the character of Mark. I love Steven. I love Layla. I love all the characters there. They're really cool. Even, Arthur Harold as a villain, I thought he was very cool and fun and interesting. So, yeah, I can't wait for next season, and I hope you guys enjoyed.